Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books Me. Today I'm bringing you my next wrap-up video. So this year, instead of doing monthly wrap-ups, I've been doing wrap-ups for every 5 books, although this video will have 6 books because I actually read a series, so I want to talk about all those books instead of leaving the last one for the next video. So this is for books 11 to 16, although technically, because I actually ended up rereading 4 of these in the same period, it's actually 11 to 20, because now on Goodreads, for those who didn't know, you can actually count your rereads in your yearly reading challenge. So that's what I've done. So technically on Goodreads I've read 20 books, although it's only really 16, so whatever you want to make of that. Anyway, let's just get into the video. So the next book that I've read this year is King's Cage by Victoria Avia. This is the 3rd book in the Red Queen series. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars, and I actually have a full spoiler-free video review up of this book. So go over and check that out if you want to know more. Because that video is like 11 minutes long, I feel like I don't really need to discuss it much in this video. Just know that I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was definitely worth the year-long wait that I've had to endure for this book to come out, and I am super excited for the 4th and final book next year. So then book number 2 is Freaks by Amanda Hocking. I did discuss this a little bit in my book haul that came out recently, whenever this video goes up. This is a standalone urban fantasy that takes place in 1982 in a town called Caudry in Louisiana. And we are following this traveling carnival that is made up of people who have paranormal abilities, and the carnival is a place where they can be safe, and sort of they use their abilities for their performances, and it's sort of you can't really tell as a spectator of these performances that they do have these magical abilities. So they're sort of protected within the carnival. And we are following our main character Mara, who is 18, I think. Yeah, 18, I think. Who has grown up in the carnival for most of her life. Her mother is the fortune teller, who is also a necromancer. And Mara has not possessed this ability. She doesn't really have a special ability. But the carnival is home for her, and she loves just the atmosphere of the carnival and the fact that there's always someone around, that everyone in the carnival is like her family. Anyway, they arrive in this town, Caudry, because they have a contract to perform for 10 days and they'll get paid quite a big sum of money, which will help them move on to their next town. And they literally have to do this job because they cannot afford to then move on and go anywhere else. And as soon as they arrive in Caudry, there's a very weird vibe that the town puts off. But everything seems okay. They set up the carnival, they open it up for the first night, and Mara ends up going into town, finding a house party at this big house, and ends up meeting this guy called Gabe because it's his sister's birthday party. And they end up hitting it off. They end up spending the night making out, and she goes home the next morning thinking, oh, I'll probably never see this guy again. But they end up meeting up at the carnival, and initially she acts as though she's not involved with the carnival because in the past, whenever she's told a guy that, you know, she is part of this traveling freak show, you know, they sort of turn off her. But when Gabe does find out, he's totally cool with it. So we follow their relationship over the 10-day period that they're in town. While all that is happening, while the carnival is on, while Mara is going out with Gabe, there is this weird creature of darkness that attacks the camp at night after the carnival has closed and everyone's winding down and going to bed. And a couple of the carnival folk are attacked, and very severely attacked. And they initially think it's like a wild coyote or something, but there is something very dark and mystical about it, and they find out that Caudry is just a very weird paranormal place. And as the carnival goes on, more people start getting attacked, and they eventually have to decide whether they're going to stay or go. And the head of the carnival, Gideon, is like, no, I'm staying. We have to at least open the carnival until the end so that we can get paid. Some of the carnival members go, some of them stay. And so in the end, Mara and Gabe sort of team up to try and bring down this supernatural force, because Gabe has his very own dark family secrets that are very much intertwined with the carnival and Caudry, and it was really good. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. The only thing that let this book down was the fact that in the last about 50 pages is when the real climax of the book happened, and when everything was revealed and everything just happened, and then all of a sudden the book finished. I felt like it happened very quickly, and I would have really liked if the book was maybe a little bit longer, or maybe it had been drawn out into a duology. I don't really know, but at the end I was left wanting so much more. Just the ending was good in the sense of what happened in the ending, but just the way it panned out and the speeding of it, and the pacing of it, I mean, just wasn't the best. But I did like it, and I definitely think if you like paranormal and urban fantasies, you're really going to enjoy this. Yeah, I forgot just how good Amanda Hocking is at writing paranormal and urban fantasies and romances, because it was really, really good. And then the next 4 books that I read are the ones that I ended up reading twice, and I did talk about them in my book haul as well, and that is, if I can turn them around, that is the 50 Shades series by E.L. James. So we have 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades Freed, and Grey, which is 50 Shades of Grey told from Christian's perspective. So as I mentioned in my haul, I had never planned on reading this series back when it was like big, when it first came out and like the movie was announced and everything. You know, everyone was reading it, and I was like, no, I don't really want to go there and read it, not because of the content of the book or because of some of the controversy that was surrounding it or still surrounds it, but just because it just didn't feel like something that appealed to me, and especially because it was first, and you know, announced and sort of taglined as, you know, a Twilight fan fiction that managed to get published into a book. I was like, I don't really want to go there. I'm not really into Twilight. Not that I haven't read Twilight, I don't plan on reading Twilight, and I just didn't want to go there. But obviously February was when the movie 50 Shades Darker came out, and the trailer has been playing heaps, and I've seen the trailer like several times, and every time I was like, this looks actually quite interesting. It didn't look like what I thought the books would be about. So while I knew what the books were sort of about, there's so much in these books that you sort of don't hear a lot about. There is actually a storyline in these books that I wasn't expecting to read. So when I saw the trailer for 50 Shades Dark, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to download the ebook. I'm just going to see if I like the book, see if it's something that I'm going to enjoy, and if it's as bad as I've heard it is. And I was actually surprised. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be really, really poorly written. It's definitely not like the best books ever written, but it was definitely better than I was expecting. The storyline was also better than I was expecting, because I didn't really know what the books were actually about, apart from the fact that it is BDSM sex, it is erotica, well, it's romance. That was all I knew, and I feel like that's what a lot of people only know about the books. But the storyline in here was quite interesting. The things that happen were things I didn't expect to see happen in these books, and I really enjoyed it. I am part of the half of the readership who actually liked the books. I ended up giving them 4 out of 5 stars. I was unsure how to rate them, but I went on Goodreads, and I saw like a lot of people that I trust with reviews had given them like positive reviews, and I was like, well, I enjoyed them, so I'm going to rate them positively. And I know that's an issue for a lot of people. I've already been tweeted a couple of times about people saying I shouldn't be talking about these books and promoting them because some people don't like them. And while I totally understand that, I didn't want to just ignore the fact that I'd read 4 books. Really, I read them twice. I read over, altogether these books are over 2,000 pages. I didn't want to just ignore that and sweep it under the rug because there are people out there who don't like these books. I totally support that there are a lot of issues and controversy and things surrounding these books, and I accept that and I totally understand that, but I just happen to enjoy them. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to censor it or anything. I was initially reluctant to talk about these books because I know a lot of people have received a lot of attacks and hate because they've talked about these books openly, especially enjoying the books, and I didn't want to be on the receiving end of that, but I'm okay with, I've now accepted it. I'm okay with talking about it. So yeah, I enjoyed the books. Yes, there's issues, but I liked the story, hence why I ended up reading it twice. And I have seen both movies. I enjoyed both movies. As book to movie adaptations go, they're quite average. There is quite a lot missing from them, and I'm really excited for the 3rd movie next year. I'm also really excited for the 5th book, which will be 50 Shades Darker from Christian's perspective. Hopefully it's coming out this year, although it might be next year, but that one's interesting because I've already read the first chapter. It is in the movie tie-in edition of 50 Shades Darker, and it sounded really interesting. I actually preferred Grey over 50 Shades of Grey. Christian's perspective is just a lot more interesting because Christian is actually just a complex and interesting character. So yeah, So they are all of the books that I recently read. Now I have to get back in and read some more because I currently I'm only like 2 pages into my next read, so I need to get reading. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts on any of these books, that if you've read them, and also don't forget to check out my King's Cage video review. I also have a review up on my blog for freaks if you want to go check that out as well. I definitely recommend it. I do talk a little bit more about the things that I liked and disliked about the book. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know some of your recent reads, some of your favorite books that you've recently read. Yeah. Also up on my blog, I have a post called 2017 reading update for the first 2 months of the year. Go check that out if you want to see all of the books that I've read this year and sort of my reading statistics, because it was quite interesting when I actually sat down and figured out some of these statistics. Other than that, I'll see you guys very, very soon with another video. Bye!